This is the food that police, Novo Mesto police cancerized with. This was the major food that police, Novo Mesto police cancerized with. This is a major cancer booster. I gotta yet to see what the expression for this in English is. I just want to record this really quickly, but you all know it. This is a pork, whatever. You probably all know this, but this is a major cancer booster, and this is just to identify. They were boosted here. This bulge that you see here. They cancerized that stuff. They were pressing, squeezing, and feeding with this type of stuff. They were feeding with this, with the blood sausage, that kind of stuff. That's what they were using. And the one who's going to confirm this stuff, hey, it was entire police station involved in this stuff. But the one who's going to confirm what I stated here, his name is Zajšek. He was the most amused man whenever they were feeding with this stuff. Why? So I never eat this in my lifetime, this stuff, ever. Till this year, till right now it's 2026, I started to eat this. And the way I eat is the same way, exactly the same way as the Rin MK Ultra. Here I cannot find any more pieces like this because I went over. And the first thing that I target when I open this box is this type of stuff here. Let me demonstrate you. This type of stuff, like this, because it's nice, crispy, and salty. You gotta disconnect the water here. It's boiling. Just throw a big of tea in it. Hop. There you go. Oh, let's continue with this stuff here. Yeah. I like this. That's the kind of stuff. So I still found a little bit. But what I prefer the most is this kind of stuff here. This. Meat. Unfortunately, they told me during MK Ultra, the police officers told me, this is a cancer. Yes, it is, because it's meat and it's burnt. So it's cancerous. So that's what I would target first. And I open this here just to demonstrate. I have to quickly close and put this back inside of the fridge. I would go like this, to the bottom, like that. Then I would do like this, like that. And then, yeah, well, it already is, but this kind of stuff. Which on this opportunity I will not eat. We're gonna pack this back. This is just for the mom I briefly took from the fridge. And we're gonna concentrate on this one, which already was open. This is a brand new one. Mother bought this yesterday at the store. Oh, it's kind of hard to close this stuff quickly back inside of the fridge. Let's continue with this one here. For the first time I started to eat this in 2026. Despite cancer stuff that is in it. Because if you don't do this stuff, unfortunately, you don't recall the shit that went on during MK Ultra if you are subject to MK Ultra torture. So delicious. Look at it. Oh, this is not a good example. I'm going to eat this one entirely. But let's say, browsing like this, going back and forth. This is a very, very, very intelligent stuff that I do. Very, very intelligent. This is not okay, but I would eat this one. Not very likely. Look, this is from the pig hair in it. See it? Wow. I'm gonna sacrifice one of these babes here. So, a little nice cube pork chop. Let's just choose this one here. This. Now, I took the crispy part. It's a very smart way. Nobody have seen anything like this. I heard from the female police officers that supposedly were interested in me. The guy's mentally ill. Oh, I would not want to eat this. If you're doing this kind of stuff, you just want a good part of it, the tasty part of it, a meaty part of it, a crispy, a salty part of it. But you don't want this stuff here? This one? No. I don't like that. Fuck this. This is just this you could almost use as a Vaseline or something like that. You could go and I don't know. I don't think that you could oil grease the car with it or bicycle with it, but it's a shit, all right. This is perfect for the cancer because it stuffs the lymph nodes very nicely, feeds the cancer cells, and the cancer grows. So, even as jacked up as I was, and as tasty as this shit was, I told you about how I never ate pizza, right? Told you about how I never eat pizza, how I never wanted to eat pizza, how I never wanted to eat any kind of bready, flour food. The only food that I ate, that I wanted to eat as a baby, as a child, was actually fish. And Serbs insisted that I have to be taught to eat bread, pizza, not pizza, but they were using the pizza to addict me to bread. And during MK Ultra, they were addicting me also to this shit. That's a big thing. Zajšek was obsessed with this shit. He said, I was watching you. It felt like there were cameras inside in here, or something like that. They were, during MK Ultra, they were. For sure they were. The neighbors, they would have a CCTV and watch the stuff that went on during MK Ultra. They might even be now, who the hell knows. I don't think so. Probably not so, because they were too scared to do that stuff. It was too much of this stuff involved in it. And they definitely would not risk being caught with the cameras in the house. But the way they describe, and it doesn't matter because this is what I was doing also during MK Ultra. They would put this in front of me, and what I would do is I would just browse for the pieces that I demonstrated you from other dish. Nice, already crispy, salty, tasty. The police officer ladies came to the conclusion that I would not lick their pussy if I am so choosy, selective. So there must be something wrong with this guy. He's fucking mentally ill. Even that they had no proofs about that stuff. But anyhow, it's vulgar, it's stupid, what I stated to you. This is the stuff that went on during MK Ultra with these animals from Novo Mesto police station. This sucks. You actually eat the food and you get obnoxious thoughts about animals that literally like this with a spoon went inside of your mouth and we're poking fun here while feeding you basically with a cancer. This is a long story. This involved literally Serbs, Serbian physicians, doctors, and even a neighbor, Dr. Igor Kotar, who continued with this stuff. What they did was they stick the needle in the lymph nodes just about when I was in a first grade or second grade of the grammar school. I was about 7, 8 years old. Year 1977, 1978, when they stick with a needle inside of lymph nodes, hurting them, damaging them. And might have even repeat this again in the 4th grade of the grammar school. As you imagine, that was a very, very long time ago. What they have done, I do not know. I sort of recall the play with the needles, and this is how they started the play with the cancer. As you know, this is called lymphoma cancer. There was no cure for this type of cancer back then. And my body did not give in. My body continued to recuperate. And Slovenian physicians, doctors, together with the Serbian doctors who were here in Slovenia during so-called Yugoslavia, Greater Serbian Chetnik state, which had fallen apart in 1991 through the war on the Balkans, 1990 actually, through the war in Balkans, they continued the nasty practice of lymphoma cancer. It became paramount for them to develop tumor here, in this area here, and it was also other area, to have one spread literally cancer into the brain area. This was the most important one for them all. Of all the lymphoma cancers, it was this one here. For now known as the King Charles of Britain, sometimes in 1980, was it 1982? 1982 realized that this year became impossible to even handle, and it looked like I'm gonna die from the cancer. That's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. And supposedly was the one who stopped this stuff by using a neighbor, Dr. Igor Kotar, who just started to move to Krka village. So this was about 2 years before I had it for the high school. This was 1984. He was in a process to move here at Krka village, and who supposedly intervened against the Serbian physicians. Interesting enough, whom he, however, he knew. I learned later that he knew them, and demanded from me a credit for saving me life. King Charles in 1984 was regarded by myself as a holy person, as a savior. There was just so much violence that it became unprecedented. Sometimes in the 6th grade, they started to arrest kids. 5th grade, 5th and 6th grade, they started to arrest kids because some kids turn out to be really criminal. And now either you were getting yourself in a confrontation with them, fights. It would require to literally kill some child, or you back down. That's how much violent this stuff was. And what I did was I backed down. I didn't want to have nothing to do with the police being thrown into the jail and stuff like that. That's how violent it was. Some kids actually were arrested and that kind of stuff went on. I have no idea about the stuff that went on, but I imagine I was not the only person who was subject to MKUltra. It could be there were some bad kids, they did this stuff to them too. Who knows what went on. Anyhow, since I was such a funny man, so this is sorry, because in 1982, Prince Charles begged me to please go on. He was so encouraging, stimulating. To not worry about that I can die actually from this cancer. But if the cancer is going to develop, he said, we don't have any kind of antidote. We don't have any kind of cure. We don't have, these were the words of Prince Charles. He's going to have to respond about these accusations. He said, we don't have any kind of medications. We don't have anything that we could help you, assist you with. It's just that time of the year, practically, that we are not advanced this yet. He was interested and very much into knowledge of cancers and all kinds of diseases, like every investigative police officer or even a physician would be. He wanted to absolutely know absolutely everything about it. It was his passion. Interesting. And he said, we don't have anything like that together with Andrew right now that we could solve, that we could help you out with this. You're going to have to hope, and we're going to pray for you that something will not go wrong. At later time, at later stage, we might have, but right now we still don't have it, they told me. 1982, so he knows something about this cancer here. He knows everything. Later on, Dr. Igor Kotar, who claimed that saved my life, oh yeah, it was a big fight because the stuff that went on, it was just... it looked like they were going to kill me. They major boosted this cancer here. And it stopped. It became evident that later stage, Dr. Igor Kotar actually regretted. He said to me that he regrets saving my life. About maybe just few years later, maybe in 1988, just 4 years later, Dr. Igor Kotar regretted, in a parenthesis, for saving my life. 1984, that's basically 1982, and 1988 is 6 years. Just 6 years later, Dr. Igor Kotar most seriously regretted, in a parenthesis, for saving my life. Let's go back to the police game, which they continue to use. This is this stuff here. Zajšek, who would have thought about that stuff, because he did not like me. I don't think he liked me at all. I think the stuff that he was doing, that he was up to, I think this guy really wanted to kill me. The last meeting I had with him, actually, for the first time in person that I met him, well, on the week of November the 30th, 2024, before they transported me even to the psychiatric hospital, Ljubljana Polje, that's what the order Miran Sodin issued. And Zajšek was just obsessed with getting rid of me. He was just standing right next to me, guarding me basically, right there, so that I would not go anywhere. And was giving a rush, and he was giving accusations against me as ambulance vehicle come and so on. He acted so crazy, really. So fully stupid, foolish, and now he's going to have to explain about the play with the cancer, the police play with the cancer. I ate this so strangely, so weirdly, that he claimed he had never seen this. He claimed to female police officers. He claimed to Štefanič. He claimed this to Juršić. He claimed this to everybody involved in MK Ultra. That he had never seen anybody like this, just like this, like I'm doing right now, searching for, targeted little chunks of meat, of this, whatever you call this in English. Pork, these are not pork chops. I don't know how the hell you call this in English. I knew it, and it got away from me. I don't have people I would converse in English here, and so there you have it. These are the consequences. So he had never seen anybody eating so crazy, strangely, doing this kind of stuff. Mom told me once I see this kind of stuff, let me demonstrate you what kind of stuff. Yeah, there you go. Once I see this kind of stuff, I ain't gonna fucking eat this. I'll throw everything away in a garbage can. Mama also was an MK Ultra teacher on how to eat this stuff, so they would not affect her. Not supposed to put this back inside in here. Supposed to put this immediately in the fridge. And the spoon that you are using, these are even instructions from a Božičnik, the little thug who gave me a traffic fine, a ticket at Žabja Vas in front of the Eurospin for making illegal. Therefore, on a red light without actually a cardboard that would indicate the right to make a right turn. The new signs they got here in Slovenia that allowed even make people right turns, but only if you see that cardboard, I should say sign, with arrow, green arrow indicating that you can make a right turn if it's even on a red light, but only if it's with that sign, semaphore with that sign. Yeah, they were all giving me these instructions. The thugs that I met them, Štefanič, Juršič, and others whom I have met at the police station in 2024, they were giving me these types of instructions. I was insane, they say. They claim there's nobody eats this kind of food like that. You know what I mean? Bah. Fui. Let me turn a little light here. You might have seen this on the blog. I am just in the process of investigation of car assassination plot near Žabja Vas, which took place 2 days ago. And I mentioned you Germans, German police. And German police, Germans that were coming to examine the future car assassination plot location. Milan Kučan was using Miran Sodin literally to negotiate with the foreign police officers, heads of the police, crime against me. That's how important Miran Sodin is. And you were able to see when I demonstrated you knowledge of Miran Sodin at his work, how he used to turn the camera on, drive with the car, and then rather than bother to turn the camera on, he would just grab the camera and just do this and place it back and so on. As if he would arrive on the location of the incident, he handled one with the camera in his hand, stepping out of the car and already recording. Then when he would come home at the end of the day, he would take the computer and start to edit these video clips. This was his specialty, which he used to become a higher police officer to advance himself through career. That's how he impressed his owners, Milan Kučan and others in Ljubljana. If you don't know stuff like this, you had to be his co-worker, you had to be his boss literally to know this stuff. And Sodin, you want to lie just like a Zajšek, he does not have a capacity to lie about this kind of stuff because it's impossible to pass lie detector test based on my description of the stuff that went on. Zajšek have never seen anything so funny, nothing so funny, so strange, so weird. And was bargaining to see from his co-workers, he wanted to get the input idea, whether do they see me insane or is it a sign of intelligence, the stuff that I see. And the responses were mixed. Germans, unfortunately for them, who negotiated with the Miran Sodin, also assassination plot in Žabjavas. One of the people who acknowledged me is insane. They like this pork grease in Germany. They like it, but I don't. The only meat that I like is actually a white meat and the fish. That's the kind of meat I like. Other does not really. It's just something not right about it. And, well, you do crazy things sometimes. Sometimes the crazy things you do are not crazy. This was not crazy. This worked like a charm. This here is enough to place Zajšek, Sodin and Štefanič and everybody involved in this with the Juršić, Ogulin. Janas Ogulin, one must not forget that boy, bad boy. Behind bars, lock them up. I like this. Germans thought, however, that not eating this kind of stuff, being picky, being picky and stuff, is just not the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to grab anything that comes your way and eat it. Now be a mama boy. Don't be choosy. I'm not choosy at all. I'm not a mama boy. I'm far from mama boy. So I'm just a little bit different. That's all I wanted to say for this video. And it's a badass video. Do you know how many times the police watched me doing this? From Novo Mesto police station, like this, picking up the pieces inside like this. It would take a minute, maybe even 2 minutes before I would find myself a suitable piece. And it would start with the smallest pieces that I would eat them, carefully craft them out and eat them, the tastiest one. And when that would be over, as they would push me, I would even upshift and start to eat bigger. And at the end, where there was nothing else left, chunks were left. Oh, when I make you walk all day fucking long and do crazy stuff to you that you are so hungry and stuff, and angry and hungry and frustrated and beaten up, that you eat all kinds of shit. That's how they get used to you, used people to eat garbage that they otherwise would not. They develop the tastes in the mouths of the people that unlikely would touch certain type of foods. And that's what police also was doing. They were cancerizing with the stuff. And I'm never going to forget. It's called Ivor. It's called this kind of stuff. A madness of Robert Golob, beginning sometimes 1998 with Milan Kučan, 1907, actually maybe even 95, 94, when he started to push this kind of stuff. But it's like a peppers, this kind of peppers. Now, some are without any peppers inside, they're not hot, and others do have even hot peppers. So we have no normal, just the way it is, and then you have a mild hot, and then you have really, really hot. So once they created a cancer, when they continue to create cancer, they went on to associate that cancer problems through intestines. And it's weird because this bulge appears right through intestines also. This is another issue. What's going on really? They would not share this stuff. They talk about intestine cancer. They talk about the one that I just demonstrated you. They talk about various types of cancer that I have. Lymphoma, prostate cancer. They talk about the kidney and liver failure. Hard to guess what lunatics had on their mind. And the consequences I do feel, real problems. All through certain things. If I wouldn't even be here no more. I even urinated pieces of food. That stuff already happened. That's how bad this stuff was. And changed the diet completely to avoid a fatality. I think I was millimeters away from fatality. And not on one occasion, on more than one. And so what they would do is they would have me eat this shit. They would make you only eat this shit for like 2 weeks. Till this shit would turn out to be cancerous. One time they feeded me with the cherries for 1 week straight. Till I felt I have rotten intestines inside of the colon, that it's rotting inside completely. I felt, you know, it's a strange feeling. It's a strange feeling. It feels like cold inside when they do that stuff to you. Do you understand what the fuck I described to you right now you were doing? I couldn't describe this shit if this shit was not happening. Let's just leave this stuff alone. Mother watched all this stuff. And she is know nothing, hear nothing, recall nothing. So Zajšek is going to have to explain about my weird habits pertaining to this type of stuff. You're not supposed to browse with a spoon. He teach me the one that you eat with. If you do this kind of stuff. Božičnik he was giving me, a young Božičnik, teenager. Bring a fucking babies. Children, they to give me a fucking instructions on how to be normal through MK Ultra bestiality, and that's not normal for me. But the Prince Charles, he demanded the credit. He demanded the credit for saving me and for the. This hurts, actually. Really, it's really not good. I have to sleep on a shirt, just like I did during MK Ultra. Everything I do is totally copy-paste of MK Ultra. Even the pillow, the investigators that would... I'm gonna make another video about that stuff. This is another video, but... Yeah, even the pillow, they told me, they were laughing at me. They gave me some old pillow, shitty, disgusting pillow. You have to get yourself another pillow, and so on. At least get yourself whatever pillow and stuff. I sleep on the floor, I don't give a fuck. I just do my stuff, and it helps me to recall about the stuff that went on. They told me do not video record with a telephone on. Actually, do not go and reach out for the telephone while you're driving and turn the telephone on. And I really don't do that. I don't. I really do not do it. And the thing about, I did maybe a few times, but that's all there is to it. The thing about it is, and I would not even recall all this stuff about what Miran Sodin used to do in year 2000, before the smartphones even came out. So when the smartphones came out, they prohibited, they started to teach me different, they started to indoctrinate me, talking about the Štefanič, talking about Zajšek, talking about Juršić, talking about Miran Sodin, talking about Tomáš Napečnik, from Ljubljana also. They were all coming here inside of this house. That the rules have changed, and these are the most dangerous devices, and it was issued a decree for not using smartphones to video record the stuff from the cars. János Ogulin was the one who issued this decree, sometimes in year, to be precise about it, 2008, actually not 2008, but 2010. 2010, it became prohibited at Novo Mesto police station to just do that. So, a bit confusing, isn't it? But it relates, everything relates to one another. Interesting stuff is that I wrote about how they teach me to turn the telephone on and just record. Even if you don't record anything, just turn the telephone on, start recording, place it whatever the hell you want. And when you see something interesting, just pull the telephone and direct the camera into it and put the telephone back. That's what they were doing. That's what Miran Sodin is doing. That's what he taught me to do. Anyhow, this is not about precisely Miran Sodin. This is a total criminal garbage. I mean, talking about one issue or another, it pertains to all of them because it was a gang. However, this gang acted in Slovenia against me also on behalf of British royals. It was not only on behalf of the Serbs and Kučan here in Slovenia, Pahor, Drnovšek, Danilo Turk, Tanja Fajon, and so on. This criminal gang, dressed up in blue as a police officers, psychiatrists, judges, they did ugly stuff. They did ugly stuff literally on behalf of British royals, for what I was endlessly grateful to Prince Charles, who even hired some people here from the Novo Mesto police to meet me in afternoons, literally, and go with me on a hiking trail and stuff like this during MK Ultra, through MK Ultra, because it was, the life was MK Ultra, totally MK Ultra. With unprecedented violence. Like I said, I didn't want to have any of that stuff. That they arrested some kids. I never was arrested, nothing. And he said that it's a cancer, that there is no 1982, there is no cure for this cancer, he told me. We don't know what we're going to do about it. That's how he said to me. He said to me like a dear friend, worried. He was the one, it became evident, who actually started to teach also, use police, use me to evaluate all kinds of food, which police was using to cancerize through autoimmune disorder, to the autoimmune disease. What I demonstrate you right there with this IVAR, they call it, that shit is just normal good food, healthy food. Yet what they were doing is they would give you food so long that the cancer would, that you would link food with the cancer. And now whatever the fuck you would eat, this was a Robert Golob idea, it would culminate in a cancer. Meaning that without the, that's what the police claim, that without the garlic you're not going to live. And without the cancer medications, you're not going to live. They already started to fuck with the cancer medication. So basically, did such a stuff that whatever the hell you would eat, it would culminate in cancer because of this autoimmune disorder they were playing with. Everything here is a fact. Never going to be changed, any part of it or what I stated. It's not a paranoia or something like that I would be suspicious about. This is just the way this stuff was. Robert Golob claimed, Slovenian Robert Golob, now a Prime Minister Robert Golob claimed that it's not only the goal for entire world to reject me and hate me. He said, we want your own cells to reject you, to hate you, and to destroy you. So, that's pretty fucking crazy if you ask me. I can be proud about something. I really had to do with the insane people. And truly regret to say that one of those people just happened to me was your British royal king now, King Charles. There is no such thing like a shame when it comes to the royals. They just do basically the stuff. They do it. They always did, I guess, I suppose. And they're entitled to do stuff like this, I suppose. This is what they do. And that's what police does. Maybe even everywhere, regardless of the social order system. I think they foremost protect the upper portion of the society, the elite, the crime, basically. At least in my case, it came out like that. This might be a really crazy way to eat this. Might not be the proper way. This might really get spoiled. Yeah, right. Yeah. Niti ne. Mom said they eat the whole box of it. No, really not. What you have seen right there, in my lifetime, I did not eat the two like this packages. In my entire lifetime, I'm now 54. But it might be crazy, it might be weird, it might be strange. Maybe I'm even mentally ill, who the fuck knows? But a police officer, Zajšek, yeah, he's gonna have to explain about my being mentally ill, about this passion that he had watching this kind of stuff, how I was eating. He was asking the police officer about, have you ever seen anything like this? Have you ever seen anybody eating like this? Do you think he's retarded? Do you think that he's smart? Is this a sign of intelligence, or do you think it's actually a sign of craziness? So he will have to explain about that kind of stuff. Maybe I'm mentally ill, who the fuck knows? I don't care. It works for me. If I would eat pussy, yes, but only if it's a good-looking one, not just anyone. Like I said, maybe I'm fucking crazy. Who the fuck knows? But it works for me. Andrej Štefanič was just totally disappointed about me. He just would not understand why I would not grab myself one of those Serbian Jungfraus and do it with her. He claimed, we're all gonna turn into the Serbs one way or the other. If we had the opportunity, we would have done it, and you had so many and you blew it. Maybe I'm fucking crazy, who the fuck knows? Insane, mentally ill, but it works for me. Štefanič insisted that it'll be his kids or grandkids who do everything he possibly can to get one of those over there from Serbia. Well, I hope his wishes come true. Not envious about that. The Novo Mesto police officers, together with investigators, they have seen this page here from Google. They watched this page from the Google together with the German police officers. Must have been maybe even from Interpol or Europol. It's quite interesting. It was also Dutch. Today I was talking to you about also about this here. Yeah, but I'm just gonna leave it like that. It's okay. Works for me well. For the mental illness issue, which Zajšek commenced through what you have seen right there ahead, sparkles, I would not figure out. I would definitely not. I would not figure out this stuff here. Are they really sparkles? Sparkles, really? Never ever ate them in my lifetime. First time that I ate them was just lately in 2026. It's called also pork rind, pork rind, rubber jakes. No. Pork rind or hair jakes. No. Pork rind. Probably pork rind would be it. Never ever would I figure out this stuff. Never. What a strange name. Pork rind. They like that also. In Miami, we had some Cubans that they like this. We have people from all over the world coming. And that's the stuff I was talking to you about today. The one that I demonstrated you. The one that I just demonstrated you. That's a big one. And the stuff that I video recorded to you about right now, when it is concerning Zajšek, is just as deadly as this here about Miran Sodin. Zajšek, who started this issue about mental illness possibility pertaining to this pork rind stuff, figure out that I'm not mentally ill. He said, I'm trolling them. That the stuff that I do is so specific, so strange, so different, that I'm trolling them. And they just didn't know what the fuck went on with me, because I never ate them. So it was a big fucking confusion all over the place. I had no way of knowing what do I do, what do I look like when I eat this shit. So, something in between. Something in between. If you call a cancer a mental illness, then be a mental illness. But never was a fan of this food, if that's a mental illness. And it was the kind of stuff they were also using to drive one another insane. Because it was a conspiracy theory, just as I explained, that Zajšek came up with. Like this, it's a Zajšek. Z-A-Y-Š-Ek. An individual who was meeting me on that week of November the 30th of 2024. That's his last name. They were just driving one another crazy, paranoid, rather than doing a police job as required to do per law. They went on to protect criminal elites, literally, from the law by doing something extremely criminal, something extremely illegal, something as U.S. military have done under military law, even legal. Let's say in Afghanistan or the Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, where they also tortured prisoners and stuff they had. You get the drill. This is not a job of the police. They believed, they had their own explanation for the police line of work, and they refer to this type of line of work as policing people. As policing people also means that you have to do the stuff like this. Man, not the hell that I would know of. They tried to convince me that doing crime to me is actually legal, and fighting against, since it was the police that was doing this stuff, illegal. This was the idea inside of the brain of psychiatrist Peter Kapš. Not insane, but criminally insane. Not insane, but criminally insane. This is a different term. They were all criminally insane. And I was also talking to you about this issue here. It's another one I'm gonna video record. This is a big one. If this shit would have happened, I would not recall what I pointed you out about this individual here, Miran Sodin, who tried to actually throw me into the psychiatric hospital in 2024. I would not recall pertaining to the video recording stuff done. This individual, they're gonna have to confess about this shit. There's nothing even to confess about, because their records, their line of work, the stuff they do, their superiors, their co-workers, clearly in their work, the proofs, the stuff, clearly indicated, written here are facts. Come home and start to edit the stuff on the computer. I was just mentally ill enough to get this stuff done. And at the end of the day, basically that's all it matters. Just mentally ill enough to get the job done. Mel Gibson compared this to a Christ of Passion, Passion of Christ, whatever. Yeah, I don't give a shit who saw, what saw in this thing. What matters at the end of the day is that the job is being done like this. As I video record this stuff, I continue to investigate this incident that took place at Žabjavas. There was also Dutch police officers. And they develop a very good relationship with the Slovenian side, thanks literally to Miran Sodin. Would you imagine that Milan Kučan personally deputized Miran Sodin as the main individual in charge, literally, for the relations with the foreign criminal police departments, like the one in Germany? I don't know what happened with the Holland, with the Dutch, but they hosted people from all around the world and were giving them literally their version of incidents that would take place, of which some were literally direct assassination attempts. Miran Sodin is going to have a lot to explain about the stuff he got himself involved in. This is actually exactly the opposite side, and the car is pulling left. I already video recorded how it is. Driving with the car, I did the same thing as Štefanič have done it. Driving through the village. Something I already have also described about today. That's what this is. You see one incident like this, and then stuff like this comes out. For this stuff that you read here, what German police told me, if you will ever get this stuff done, the first thing they did was they guaranteed that they will get involved in it on my behalf. Then they downshifted. Then the story completely changed. And they went from the handcuffs that I demonstrated you, they bragged about in front of the computer, to gesturing me that they will know that I know something. They no longer wanted to know anything about it. Why? Because of what you read here. His name is Donald Trump. German police visited this location in 2010 again. So this is a location which I indicated you. There's a Hofer store right there. This computer is so fucking moldy that is unprecedented. And it was molded by the police. They would classically deliver me here in this area, have me stand right here like this, and then what they would do is they would walk this area here with the Miran Sodin. It doesn't even matter if it was here, but its profile of what I demonstrated you here completely matched this location here. I did not go there. I stayed here in this area here. Like this, like you see the arrow, that's where they had me. And I saw right across the street, it was German police that would go. They told me, I don't know, on how many meters that it would be my fault if it would be, and if not, it would not be my fault, and this and that. Fuck that. Fuck this kind of support. They told me, because you came to the Germany and filed for the political asylum in Gießen. Of course I did. I did it. They came, they said we couldn't do anything for you in the Germany, so now we came here to Slovenia since you have done this, and so on and so forth. This was in 2010. Then what they claim is that my father had a car accident. You remember the wheel that I told you about? That is not the way it's supposed to be, that the car is pushing that way. I doubt it, because they presented me two realities. They claimed that the father had a car accident, maybe even during my stay in abroad, where I was, in Norway, in Sweden, where I was filing for political asylum in 2010, that he became careless with the car and that he had a car accident. That would not make any fucking sense. Then they came up with another story. However, I do not know exactly the timing when they came up with this story. Not that I would know that father had any kind of accident with the car. However, I never was watching whatever the father was doing. He could even park the car, broken car, inside of the garage. I would not know about it. They threw me into a psychiatric hospital in 2012. That's when I see the police again. And that's where they gestured that father had a car accident with a car, that he's driving carelessly, that he's not doing the stuff the way he's supposed to, and so on. And that's why he was not allowed to repair the car. On the other occasion, they gestured me the car that was repairing, because they brought me to the shop, was from somebody else, and that if I would say that this is actually the car from the father, it would be a schizophrenia. How the hell do you say anything when they throw you into the psychiatric hospital and then this kind of stuff goes on? I'm not a car mechanic. I don't have any mechanic that I would take this to and have one evaluated. However, I repeat, I was brought to some shop where they claimed that father had a car accident, they were repairing the car. And father insisted in 2014 in front of me to the police investigator that he wants to have the wheel. So they would be the same like on all other cars, normally adjusted, everything normal. And they would not allow him. On the other hand, I had also police claiming that they deliberately did that stuff to the car, as per law, about how much it allows to the wheel to be turned and that kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, Štefanič told me that the wheel can be completely sideways and it's still okay. It's still legal. What matters is that it doesn't pull the car right or left. This car drives okay. So I have no fucking idea about what goes on. Maybe I haven't seen that the tires would be misaligned or anything like this. I have no idea. All I know is it's the wheel is actually like this. It's not like this, but it's like this. It's a problem. It's a small problem that can bring you to the big problem. I was the one who was at fault when this stuff took place. I'm not denying that. That's not what I'm supposed to do. However, these are the criminal circumstances behind which police is. They created this incident in order to kill me, to get me killed, exactly as I described. And that talks a lot about what kind of police this is, who these people are, what these people are. It also talks about who the British royals are, because this is not what the royals supposed to be. This is what royals supposed to work with and under, with a police like this and under police cover like that. That does not work like this. For me, not. I don't recognize this kind of authority at all. This is disgrace. It's a shame. Very important issue, this one here. Very, very, very important. Zajšek literally demanded from his co-workers to tell whether they think I'm fucking crazy, whether I'm involving literally women, female police officers, or mentally ill, or is just a sign of intelligence, the stuff that I do. And then developed the theory together with Buzhichnik, there's no police officer back then yet, that the stuff that I do, stuff like this, the stuff that I do is to simply mind boggle them, to actually involve them into a mental game. Buzhichnik started to pose as a police officer. He posed already way before as a police officer, but finally he started to pose as a police officer in 2014, 2015, and 2016. That's when he started to pose as a police officer. It's about 10 years ago. 2014 was like a pripravniško, I don't know how you say that. And 2016, apparently they claimed that he became a certified police officer. Who the fuck knows what the truth is? That's about the Buzhichnik. But what I know about this here, this is a job for the Zajšek, a good friend of Miran Sodin, that kind of stuff. Member of the gang, police gang. As far as what I suggested earlier, that I don't know exactly what they did with me, let's go here. This is Igor Kotar. Let's talk about this animal by the name Igor Kotar. This is not true that I would know exactly what he did, because I do know exactly what was done. And he's got everything to do with this murderous animal by the name Igor Kotar. This is our house right here. It's the one that you see right there. Go behind the corner right here. And this is how this animal also came here, this Igor Kotar. This is behind our house. That's our house right there. So right behind our house, where you see this car right here, that is the residence of Igor Kotar right here. That is his home, that is his house. He stated that he didn't even know what they did with me. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened with me. Once I entered the grammar school Novo Mesto, and we were not here yet, we did not live here. Kotar did not even buy the land here. Kotar did buy the land here, but he did not. Years after we already lived here, he was still not here at the Kirka. He still did not move here at the Kirka. He moved here at the Kirka sometimes in my 6th grade, actually even 8th grade of the grammar school, sometimes in 1986, with his family. They were coming here earlier. This here, This is the issue. 7th grade, 1985, something like this when he make a move. This is where we used to live here. Right here where you see the NLB poslovalnica, the bank. This is an old bank here. This bank here. All during the Yugoslavia bank was here. A beautiful villa they had right next to our house. They said this house is so small, it's impossible there would be something like this. This house is not so small at all. This house looks small, but it's got plenty on the upstairs and so on. It's quite an interesting house. Like a little James Bond house. House that you would never say is so big, but it is. School, grammar school, Novo Mesto. 1st grade of the grammar school. I had SERBs. Literally what I anticipate was stabbing me with the needles. Physicians, doctors. Lymph system. I am pretty sure that this was the stuff. Although I really do not know whether it was or it was not. This is the stuff that is also pertaining to the paranoia. They incited in a paranoia through MK Ultra. MK Ultra torture, they refer to it as a paranoia. I will never forget a physician, a Serbian physician who demonstrated me, these are all the lymph nodes, and he demonstrated me one lymph node here, one here, and one here. He stabbed 3 lymph nodes based on my knowledge, and that will basically be on my left side of the body, whatever he did. This was the 1st grade of the grammar school. So what he did was he created wounds, and then at least 3 of them. He said at least 3 of them. It might have been even more. And then what he did was he suggested, now we will see which one of these lymph nodes is going to be more susceptible to changes. This is the way. This was a Serbian doctor who was involved in MK Ultra that did this. 1st grade of the grammar school, 1977 or maybe 1978, I don't know. This was the first thing that was done on me. Of all these lymph nodes, no, actually it was more than 3 lymph nodes that he did this. He did this to several lymph nodes. And of these 3 lymph nodes, he got a selection of the 3 lymph nodes. The 3 lymph nodes, he said, they demonstrated the results, the desired results. And he got to choose. And there was a Milan Kuchan who was directly together with Robert Golob, I should say Borut Pahor involved in it. Milan Kuchan involved few years older kids into this stuff. So they could literally learn, see this for themselves. And suggested that of these lymph nodes, there would be 3 of them they would play with. And they did play with the 3 lymph nodes. This one, the lymph node here and here. Those are 3 lymph nodes they continue to play with. And they repeated this wherever they were doing, stabbing again in, so whatever demonstrated as promising, they continue to repeat this stabbing also in, this happened in the 1st grade of the grammar school, and it happened again in 2nd grade of the grammar school, and it again happened in the 3rd grade of the grammar school, and in the 4th grade of the grammar school, it was Dr. Igor Kotar, whose house I demonstrated you, that intervened in this shit, claiming that they're gonna kill me, And what's interesting about this man is that he claimed that they did not stab me, they didn't do anything, and so on. He immediately went on, rather than to release the news out about the stuff that goes on, he immediately went on defense mode of those that cancerized. And those did stop, make no mistake about it. He said that they would have killed you if I would not intervene and so on. They would have fucking killed me. They would. He continued to intervene in a 4th grade, and in a 5th grade, and in a 6th grade. My question to this animal is, why the fuck this stabbing continued to go on? This is the question that I have. He said that he didn't know nothing, that he prevented and so on. My question, however, is different. Why was it that when he prevented, this continued to go on? And demanded a complete silence into it. Charles announced from Britain in a 6th grade of the grammar school that they don't actually have the medications for this kind of stuff, that it could be as well, it could be end of me. It could finish me, cancer. Year when Charles announced cancer was 1984, 1982. I am completely wrong. Totally wrong. 1984, because it was 1986 that I finished my grammar school. That's a mistake. 8th grade is a grammar school, 1986. 6th grade is year 1984. So earlier when I talked about that, I made a mistake. So now I tell you exactly in details how this shit went. It went into the 1st grade, 2nd grade, with Milan Sodin supervising this shit, with Robert Golob watching it, learning from it, with Borut Pahar, with Tanya Fayon, with everybody. He brought the kids from Ljubljana, Milan Sodin I'm talking about, from other parts of Slovenia to watch this shit, to do this stuff. Literally administer this stuff. 1st grade, 1978. 2nd grade, 1979. 3rd grade, 1980. 1981. 1982. 1982, something very bad happened. That was a 4th grade of the grammar school. And it became evident to a lot of people that they are stabbing me, that they are cancerizing me. The procedure, which I explained to you in details. Then they started to negotiate about this stabbing. And they somehow stopped this stabbing in the 6th grade of the grammar school. When King Charles determined that I could be dead, there is no actually medication for this type of cancer. You understand? I said earlier that I don't know exactly what I did because I wanted to stress out that video about this pork rinds, not rings, but the rinds. I wanted to finish this shit. But make no mistake about me. I know exactly what was done, and I know exactly who did it, and I know exactly how they did it, and I know exactly why you did not stop doing that stuff. Not the same kind of stuff, but once you produce the cancer, you started to cancerize with the food. And that goes directly into London, my friends. That goes directly to the Buckingham Palace. That goes directly to what is Prince Charles, now known as King Charles.